Good morning. I have both a live video for you this morning, and I have one that I'll read to you. I've been sun gazing, so right now my eyes are not adapted to be able to read, so here I am. And maybe we'll get some rainbows as well. Let me see. It is 8:45, and the sun shines brightly. I don't get so many prism effects early because I'm on top of a hill and it drops off steeply a ways, maybe 150 yards behind the house, but there's on the brow of the hill are all the trees. Kismet, get up here. Come on, leave the kitty alone. Come on, Kismet, get up here. You tell him, Harmony. Ah, well, Harmony will come up here. Okay, that works. Sorry, just keeping peace. Come on, Harmony. And so it has to rise above the level of the trees before it can fully shine in on all of the crystals and prisms and things. Let me adjust this so you get a little bit of harmony here. So what do I have to share on this day? Oh, it doesn't want to adjust any farther. Well, I'll just reach up and adjust it. There she is. Yeah. Here's my precious puss. Okay, so we get a bit of harmony in the picture as well. Yeah. Okay, so I looked back at what I recorded in my days yesterday. Her little tail knocks the crystals around that are on the table here. And there were two things that I neglected to mention that were very much a part of the sacred ceremony with the crystal. And one of them was that one of those crystals represented the divine feminine and her return to prominence in the earth. It was a small pink crystal, and so often the ones little grandmother is burying are large crystals. These are ancient crystals. It was a very high and sacred time, and so I don't have full 3D type memory of all that was said, but I think it's possible that it was either Atlantis or Lemuria that was the origin of one or both of these crystals that were planted, were buried in the earth. And the one representing the divine feminine was small and pink and represented all the love that is mother and that is that divine yin that represents the return to balance. Man will no more be the leader, just like mind will no more be the leader. It won't be banished. It will just be shifting in relationship to the rest. And so man becomes the sacred caretaker and protector of community and of woman. What is it? What are you saying? You're getting your 2 cents worth in, huh? You're talking to all the kitties out there. Works for me. You are. So, the divine feminine was ever so much a part of sacred ceremony and its return. And so, I mean, this even makes linear sense if we look at the fact that these are being planted within Mother Earth and for the activation of her. and healing and so on, but I don't care about linear sense. I just throw that stuff out because I know it's helpful to people that are still more in mind than in heart. The other thing was that this is now a time with this activation of the crystal and of the earth. Um, this is a time when the crystal can participate more fully in the restoration of our DNA. A lot of that has been going on largely from the solar and the cosmic radiance hitting the earth and being absorbed by us. Especially, there's something about when the magnetic field of Earth is south facing. It opens the portal. This is when we get the auroras. Both north and south poles erupt in auroras at these times, often, if not always. And so the cosmic radiance has been entering in as the magnetic poles are shifting. And true north isn't true north anymore, as people in aviation will know. And so, um, where was I going with this? Our DNA has been shifting, being healed, restructuring itself. The body has its own intelligence. It just needs opportunity to work. And of course, that is why it is being assaulted throughout the entire environment by the dark force who would try to keep us buried, captured, and corralled into a space that enables them to have handles of control on us. But that's too bad. They've already lost, and they know it, but they just refuse to say die. So, oh well, we get to watch them scratching and clawing and giving it their best shot on their way out. I do hope and pray that many of them convert to light in the last moment when they realize all is lost. So often people on the deathbed will have these conversions, these awakenings, and this is a similar thing for those on the dark side. Never forget, all is of light. Remember Jesus' words, forgive them, they know not what they do. When we misbehave in these terrible ways, when we are cruel and we carry it to almost unbelievable lengths, we're as if hypnotized, asleep, and dazed. And we know not what we do. We've all misbehaved in our own lives, and we have many of them. It's a time of coming to remembrance. We are, the wisdom keepers are speaking now. And so there is Keisha, little grandmother, and the other 11 that are officially of the native tribes. They are the official wisdom keepers. But, my friends, each and every one of us also is a keeper of wisdom, our own wisdom. We're all one, remember, and we're waking up to that. As our DNA awakens, as our bodies awaken, we are awakening within them. Our higher self is now able to penetrate more and more into the matrix, into this physical dimension and reality. And we're finding things that used to drive us nuts are unimportant, irrelevant, and little small things. And so we're also finding, we're waking up with amazement to find opposite things true, and at the same time, not first a this, then a that, as in a cycle that might spiral around, but literally true at the same time. And these are marks and evidence of higher consciousness entering in. Well, a lot of this has been coming from nature, from the trees, from the crickets and the birds and the breeze and the sunshine and all the rest of it, the grass under your feet, the earth herself. A lot of this has been coming from there, as well as from the cosmic rays that penetrate. Recently, as a for instance, the celestial bodies also play their part. Recently, we had, during the last full moon, I think it's the last full moon. I don't watch the moon, so I have to look up what the cycles are sometimes. But during the last full moon, it was conjunct Jupiter and Uranus. And Jupiter was at the closest proximity to Earth that it has been in a long time, or will be for many years yet to come. And the conjunction with Uranus and the full moon. Now, when you have a full moon, what that means is that the Earth is between the moon and the sun. That's what makes the moon full. And so, therefore, if you can envision for me, if you will, on one side of the Earth is the moon, Jupiter, and Uranus. On the other side of the Earth is the sun. Everything is emitting these majestic, magnificent rays of light and energy. All right? And so those from these various heavenly bodies were meeting in the Earth. They joined and they linked up in you and I, in our earth bodies. This flesh we wear is of the earth. We are cells in the body of Gaia. Blood cells, maybe. Blood cells move around in the body. And so we have all kinds of things participating in the awakening that's going forth. But now that we have the crystals, and here's a garnet I picked up at the weekend event in Eureka Springs. It's got interesting faceting. And so all of the crystals, not just your clear crystals like this one, which is kind of interesting the way it seems to go in its own way, north, south, east, west, and up. Or down, I guess, depending upon how one would hold it. But anyway, all of your crystals of whatever kind. Did you know that gold in its natural formation is crystalline? If you find a gold nugget, you'll find those facets in it. It's so often found in the rivers, though, where it's been worn down in its softness, and so we're not aware of that. And I love how in one of the talks or interviews or lectures of David Icke, he talks about going to someone who took a drop of his blood and put it under intense and extreme magnification. And at a certain level, he realized, oh my God, it's shaped just like crystal. It's got those facets on it. We are beings of crystal light, and our bodies are being more and more converted back into that. And so the crystal can now play a more active part. Kismet, you stay in here. The crystal can play a more active part, and the earth herself can now play a more active part in writing and restoring our own DNA. So be sure to spend some time barefoot on the ground. In that circle, for that sacred ceremony, the very first thing she said was, "Take off your shoes." And so we all stood barefoot on the ground throughout the entire process, the sacred process. And I'll speak more of it later, but right now I've probably gone on long enough. And so I'll close this one and return later again. Good day.